here with Pete Brown. He's a fellow Doctor Who fan. Loves T-shirt.
Thank you. It's my silent scream, right?
Yeah.
So it's the scream, but it's the silence.
Awesome. I've seen that you have a really geeky office. Could you tell us a little bit about the setup?
Sure. So I work from home. So, I really like to have a kind of a man cave as my home office. Most people have the big TVs and the place for watching sports. I have, several 30-inch displays with my computer hooked up to them, and that's kind of my man cave. And I like to mess around with synthesizers a lot, so I have a bunch of different rack mount synthesizers in there that I can use to make sounds. I don't want to say make music, because I've heard people with talent make music, and mine doesn't sound like that. So it's more just like practicing different sounds. But one of the cool things I just got is a synthesizers.com modular synth, which is just absolutely amazing. It's a big rack, and to patch this is the word patch, where the word patch came from. To create the sounds, you have to patch from one module to another using a 1/4-inch cable, and that's how you route the signal around. It's absolutely amazing. And I got it like 2 days before I came to this conference, so it's at home just waiting for me to come back and visit it and give it some love.
But you had some time to try it?
I did. I was at a maker fair the Saturday before I came here, and normally I was using the MIDI module with my Netwino stuff and my Gadgeteer stuff, and normally I would have that control just like a little synthesizer module, right? So a nice little display on a table. But I brought the modular for this one, and I had the table, I had set up on the table, and it weighs like 50, 60 pounds. It is sitting in there, and everybody's coming by like, what is that? Is some kind of audio equipment or something? I'm like, no. And you hit one note on that, it was like, whoa, and it's just absolutely amazing sound. So tons and tons of fun. And then I have all my Doctor Who toys in my office and all sorts of other stuff.
Oh, you have toys too?
Oh, absolutely, I have toys. I have, and let's see, my piggy bank is the fertility idol from Indiana Jones, and I've got like little Lego-looking Daleks running around there, and it's actually, I have a picture on Flickr of my office, and it's sort of like you can do like Where's Waldo with all this like really old, 1970s and 80s era toys, anime toys, everything like that. So.
There actually are Lego Daleks.
So there's a company that makes Lego compatible stuff, and I see you're about to run out and go buy them right now.
We have to cut this interview short.
Yeah, there's a company that makes so Christmas gift idea here. There is a company that makes Lego compatible Doctor Who toys. Awesome. I have a TARDIS. I have several of the Doctors. I have some Cybermen. I have some Daleks. I actually bought the Dalek Army pack. So you can have, there's like 10 Daleks in that pack. You can just line them all up, and they're just like little tiny Lego guys, like exterminate and all good. So I even bought a. This is going to be a fun talk. I even bought an add-in for some of the synthesizer stuff that I have on the computer that lets you do a Dalek voice.
Sweet.
And the problem is, though, I usually get all my time to mess around downstairs at like 1 in the morning, and so I can't be down there like yelling exterminate, downstairs in my office. And it's just, somebody's got to be upset upstairs if I do that, and probably give my son some bad dreams or something. I don't know what was happening last night. It's just like I was monsters coming through and exterminating and stuff. Yeah.
Sweet. So this conference is a Windows 8, Windows Phone, Azure thingy. What's your favorite?
Yes, yeah. It's absolutely a thingy.
What's your favorite features in Windows 8 and Windows Phone 8?
Oh, okay. So my job mainly revolves around working with Windows 8 these days, and I think if you had to think about all the different things about Windows 8 that make it awesome, for me the biggest thing is the ability to support different types of devices. So we've all got a Surface, right? And that's great, and I love that form factor. But at the same time, being able to have a big touch screen for certain things, or being able to have certain types of dedicated machines to do that type of stuff, and maybe I don't want a touch screen, I just want a normal laptop, being able to run the same OS and the same apps on all of those is a really big deal, right? So, for example, we were talking a little bit about the pre-keynote stuff earlier. Jordan Rudess did the pre-keynote stuff on the big Lenovo things, and the things that got him excited about Windows was being able to play not just on a device like he's used to. Like he's an iOS guy. He's always done stuff on iPad and iPhone, and his fingers are about this long, right? I mean, he's a piano. It looks like crab legs coming off his hands. They're just like all over the place. He's able to play really amazingly. And then when I stuck a 27-inch screen in front of him, he was just like, oh my God. Being able to like run that same app on this and then that same app on the big screen was amazing for him. And actually, I brought him downstairs to, we have a PC gallery downstairs with all the different form factors of the PCs downstairs. And he picked up this Sony PC. It's a Sony Vaio Tap 20 or it's some ridiculous name like that, but it's a really neat device. And what it is do you guys know Harry Potter? Yeah. If Hagrid had a tablet, this would be his tablet, right? It weighs like 12 pounds or 11 pounds or something, but it's 20 inches and it'll run off a battery or a power connection. And so he's like holding it in his hand, and he actually spent today going to stores to see if any of them had them yet. This is a Mac guy. Going to stores to see if any of them had them yet, because he has to have that device. And it turns out I guess they're coming soon. They didn't ship last week or whatever. They're going to be really soon. But as soon as they come, I know he's going to go get one, because he saw that. He's like, it's a perfect size for him. He can go mount it on a stand somewhere, or if he's looking to buff up his arm a bit, he can carry it around as a normal tablet and play it. It's just so. To get back around to your question, I think the biggest feature for me, the most important feature of Windows 8 is choice. I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah. There are lots of other touch devices out there, and operating systems that are designed for touch, but I don't think anybody has the level of compatibility and the level of choice that we have going across all these different devices and all these different form factors. And to me, that's the single biggest feature.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
So, you're a gadget geek.
I've been called that, yes. I've been called lots of things too.
What is the latest gadget you bought? It's probably the synthesizer.
Oh yeah, so the synthesizer. Let's see. It depends on whether or not my wife's going to watch this, because like you're always sneaking stuff in your pockets at home. That's why like Netduino and stuff, you just shove it in your pocket and nobody sees it coming in. When it shows up in the mail, it's just a little box and you're all good. The synthesizers.com synthesizer arrived in my box, and my wife comes into my office. She's like, "Did you order a fridge?" I was like, "No, I didn't order a fridge." She said, "There's a box out here that is the size of a mini fridge," and it was literally they packed it so well that the box was like this long, it was like this tall, and it was about this wide, and it's sitting at the top of my stairs. My wife was like, "What is this?" I'm like, nothing, dear. It's not my bonus money spent or anything like that, right? The box was so big, both of my kids got in it afterwards to play boat. Like my 6-year-old and my 4-year-old were sitting in it, and understand the box is full of the popcorn, those peanuts things. So they're in there, staticky of course, covered with all this styrofoam peanut stuff in there, playing boat inside there. But yes, I think that synthesizer is my latest toy. And she knows I got it, but I don't sneak. I don't sneak stuff in the house. So I got that. There's a bunch of other like cool like synth things I've gotten there. And actually, one of my other more interesting toys I bought recently is from a company named Microelectronica, who are in Belgrade. No, they're somewhere in like that eastern part of Europe, like one of those. I forget exactly where they're from. But they make development boards for microprocessors. Oh. And this one is ARM, right? And it's not ARM like you're running here. It's the lower power microcontroller stuff. Because as much as I like doing .NET Micro Framework stuff, I also really like to learn C and C++ on these devices as well. And so it's about this big. It's a board. And it's got like buttons so that you can light up every single pin, and it's got LEDs that show you which pins are high and which pins are low, and it has a built-in display and some other stuff. So so I can code against these ST Microelectronics ARM devices on there, and I'm pretty excited. I brought it with me thinking that, hey, I'm on campus for 2 weeks. I'm going to have nothing to do in the evenings. That didn't work out so well. So it's still sitting in the package in the hotel, but I brought it with me thinking I would have some time to code on that.
Awesome. So what's your favorite gadget, if you have to choose one?
One?
Yeah, one.
One gadget. Oh my God, I can't choose one gadget. Does a PC count as a gadget?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so if I was stuck on a deserted island that just somehow managed to have a really solid power supply going to that deserted island, I would probably pick my PC. And that sounds really dorky because I work for Microsoft, and yes, I would pick my PC. But truthfully, of all the things I mess around with, what is the one thing I spend the most time with? Like, what does everything else connect to? What is, what is sort of the center of everything I do? It's my PC. It's my PC.
Actually, I have another question. If you're allowed to have 3 gadgets on a deserted island.
3 gadgets on a deserted island. All right, so assuming,
I'm guessing the PC.
Assuming things like toilets and stuff are already taken care of, and okay. So nobody else is watching, so that's good. So PC would obviously be one. Am I picking 3 more? I feel like what's it? Price is Right or something. I have to pick 3 things over here. So pick 3 more in addition to the PC.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So it would probably be one of my synthesizers, and so I would say I have a small Access Virus synthesizer, which it's of all the ones I have, it's the most versatile sound there. So I'd say probably that. Probably one of my .NET Micro Framework boards that I have, because I really, that's really great stuff, and it's easy for me just to like create things out of those very quickly. And then probably that ARM development board I mentioned, because Micro Framework is about getting things done very quickly and doing like UI stuff, and then C code on a microprocessor is about making things run really fast, right? Yeah. So I'd say those would be those. And so right now somebody is burgling my house, and they're going to only leave me those things I know, and that's it.
What kind of projects are you working on right now? Gadgeteer, Netwino, or something else? Any fun things?
Yeah. So my life over the past month, roughly, has been completely absorbed with working on Windows 8 stuff and GA. And basically every free moment I've had in the evenings, I've been trying to wrap up my Windows 8 book, which still has 2 chapters to go. Sorry, Jeff. He's my editor. He sent me some texts this week. He's like, so did you get any other chapters done? I'm like, sorry. I can understand now why guys like G.R.R. Martin, write the Game of Thrones and all those books. They take like 3 other years to write the additional chapters. It's because they can. In a tech book, you don't really have that luxury. But anyway, so that's what I've been doing in the evenings. Is that fun? Why, yes, it is fun. It's rewarding. I don't know about fun, but it's rewarding for sure. And then everything else has been Windows 8, which has actually been a lot of fun. I mentioned working with Jordan earlier. Yeah. I've been working a lot with him. I've also been working a lot with like the people that showed up in the keynote this morning, the Workday folks. They were in Satya's keynote, right? So I've taken up a lot of time with that as well as a bunch of other manufacturers of music software. So like ImageLine, the people who make FL Studio over in, they're from Belgium. I've been working with them on their Windows 8 app offering and a bunch of other stuff. And of course, all these things are international, so sort of like my days and my evenings and everything are all melding together. But I would have to say that like working with these guys on the Windows 8 stuff, despite it being work, and maybe we should edit this before it goes to my boss. But despite it being work, it's really fun, and I would probably do it anyway. It's great to see these things appear, and being able to play like Tachyon and MorphWiz and stuff on my device, and mine sounds more like squealing cats as opposed to like actual performance. But doing all that stuff is just tons and tons of fun. And so what did I leave off on before I started really going right into Windows 8 stuff? And it was that ARM, those ARM projects, and really creating an updated version of my MIDI module that I built for Gadgeteer. I was working on an updated version of that used the ARM processor for offloading all the filtering and stuff we talked about before, the pitch bend, sending out zillions of notes and stuff. And there's one poor guy in Germany, I think his name was Max, who's still waiting on me to do some of those updates. So Max, if you see this, I'll work on it soon. I promise I will. So many my backlog of things that that are really fun that I haven't gotten to yet in my house is like, it's just, my home office has all these old kitchen cabinets behind me, and if you open up any one of those kitchen cabinets, it's like my failure to get to projects. You open up and it's like all these unfinished things, and it's that ADD kicking in, I think.
Yeah. it's okay to not finish projects.
All right, so now I will show this to my wife. 'Cause so, so here, I'm going to completely be transparent with you. My son is 6.5. Before my son was born, I started renovating our house. The renovation is not yet complete. Like I built the kitchen. Woodworking is another hobby. I built all of our kitchen cabinets in the kitchen. All the cabinets that are actually there right now. I'm still short a few cabinets, and none of them have doors, right? So, so there are a number of things like that that I have not gotten to. That, yeah, a testament to my lack of focus. If the emperor was with me, you'd say you lack focus.
So I actually have 2 more questions. What was your first computer?
Oh, so the first one that I actually owned, you know what? I have to even think a little earlier than that. The first one I owned for a day was a TI 99 4A. They were like selling them out at the local Kmart type store, and my parents bought me one. I got it unboxed. So I remember I'm a kid here. I got it unboxed. They somehow realized it was crap. They must have talked to somebody. They put it back in the box and brought it back. So I owned that for like a day, and I didn't actually get a chance to do anything with it, but that's okay. They were right. It was crap, and so I'm kind of glad that I did that. And then a couple of years later, the first one I owned was a Commodore 128. Which was the successor to the Commodore 64, which I had been messing around with in school and stuff. I used to spend as you could tell by my svelte physique here, I used to spend most of my recesses sitting at the computer in like 7th and 8th grade and stuff. And while everybody else was like running around having a life, I was in there learning how to program BASIC on the Commodore 64 and making sprites fly across the screen. And actually, one of my favorite things to do is they had all these educational programs. And they were on floppy disks, and the write protect for a floppy disk at the time was just put this little piece of tape over the notch on the side. So if you took that tape off, you could work on the program that was on there. And they were just basic. So I would modify, now remember, this is 7th grade. It's not like I did this last week. I would modify these educational programs that the math teachers would bring the kids into play to like swear at you and stuff when you got the answer wrong. So, you know, they would like call you an idiot and all these types of things. So these kids would come in and the programs would be calling them an idiot and all this stuff. And that was my fun in 7th grade.
Awesome. So the last question: what is your favorite Doctor Who episode?
Oh, I actually liked the last one that we just saw, where unfortunately they got rid of Amy and Rory, right? But I did like the way they did it, and probably my favorite one, and it's funny because it leads into that. It was actually the first Angels one, which had. The Doctor only showed up in the video on that, I think, right? Where he's telling people, don't blink, don't... Was it that one?
Yeah,
yes.
I think he's in the last scene or something.
Yes, because he's running away doing something else, right? So that's probably one of my favorite ones. And then if I picked a second favorite one, even though you didn't ask me to, I'm going to anyway, it's the one with Van Gogh. Right, okay. So you know, when they did that, and I have to admit, so that one made me cry. It was just such a really good episode, and I like that because it was probably of all the Doctor Who episodes, it was the most emotional and kind of the least tacky. Right, so there's a certain amount of kitsch that you get with these other Doctor Who episodes. But that was really good. So those would be my 2 favorite.
Actually,
Time of the Angels, I think, is what it is. Right, Time of the Angels is the first one, or I think so.
No,
anyway.
Don't Blink.
Is it just called Blink?
No,
oh, that's right. It's just called
Blink.
Blink.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I gotta ask one more. Favorite Doctor? I know, it's evil.
All right, so I grew up with Tom Baker, of course, right? So that he was my favorite Doctor at the time. But the memories of Tom Baker are better than going back and watching the episode. If you go back and watch the episode, you realize, wow, this was cheesy 80s stuff going on in here. So I mean, really, I like the last 2 Doctors quite a bit because I really like the story, and probably because the story writing has been so good on those. So probably, it's hard between 10 and 11, right? So probably 10. Although I really do like 11, so it's hard to say. Like the stories in 11, I think are really well developed. Yeah. Even though they only gave us, what, like 5 episodes this past season. Thank you, BBC, 5 episodes? Come on. But yeah, so either of those would be good. And I have them both in little miniature Lego-looking figures, by the way.
Sweet.
So
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
It's fun. It's always good to talk geek with somebody who understands who the heck Doctor Who is.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks.
thank you.